and good afternoon. My name is Juergen Steinmetz, joining you from the Breaking News Show and Itober News here in Honolulu, Hawaii. And with me is Dr. Peter Tarlow in College Station, Texas. We're both home. Weather, it's a little bit cloudy here, but nice. And many people go to the beach. Wondering how it is in Texas.
Well, we would go to the beach if we had a beach. But unfortunately, in College Station, we don't have a beach. But we do have hot weather. It is now our second month of weather over 100 degrees. So once in a while, we get a cold front. It goes down to 98 or 99. But most of the time, it's about 100 degrees. Here in the Celsius world, that's about 40, 41 degrees. So it's been really hot and humid. I walk at 4 in the morning in order to avoid the heat. So this has been a really hot summer here, hot and dry. And that's a little bit dangerous because we now have water restrictions because of the fact that were there to be a fire, like in Hawaii, they have to have the water to put out the fire.
Well,
so
you don't want another fire, but you have a lot of, you don't really have a lot of green, right? You're just like kind of.
No, East Texas has a lot of green, a lot of forests, and College Station is green, but it's right now we have all our grass is a beautiful yellow. So it's kind of hay colored looking. Once it'll rain, the grass though will come back. Now, last night, of course, was a very interesting night because when we talk about once in a blue moon, last night was the blue moon. And of course, the moon is not really blue. That when they say a blue moon, they put it into parentheses. But what it was is very rarely do you have two full moons in 1 month. Last night they had that. You can also go out tonight. It's also when the moon is closest to the earth, so you could see the moon best with your naked eye. And it was in opposition to Saturn, which means that you could see Saturn with your eyes, and with a small telescope you could see the rings around Saturn. So maybe this is like predicting that soon we'll be taking space tourism. And we'll be talking about what you won't ask me what's the weather like in College Station, Texas, but rather what's the weather like in College Station, Mars, or College Station, Saturn. So I think that's the new moons and this blue moon is a real sign that, you know, the tourism industry is moving on up and the earth is getting small. So we'll be ready for our next planet to ruin.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of things going on. We're getting into September, and September is going to be a busy month for all of us, and especially for our young organization, the World Tourism Network. We have our first ever global executive summit. And whenever we think we have no one registering anymore, we have more and more people registering every day. So it's going to be quite complete, and we have a really good audience attending in Bali when we're there from the 29th to the 30th. What is exactly 1 day or 2 days after World Tourism Day, and what is celebrated this year in Saudi Arabia. So we have the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, who will be attending the event in Riyadh to join us. So he's going to be on the plane in between, and then we're going to go on in Bali with 2 days of seminar and presentation.
Major discussion.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite interesting. I'm looking forward to the gala dinner because that's always quite spectacular in Indonesia, especially in Bali. And we're going to have our Heroes Award during this gala dinner, and also we have a singer who's coming in from Australia who is he's a million record singer. We're not going to give you this name yet, but he will be there, and he's composing a song just for World Tourism Network. So
wow, that's really spectacular for us. And you know, we'll be touching on really important subjects. We're going to be touching about the issues of climate change. We're going to do a special session on international security and safety, which I'll be leading. And as we often say in this program, without safety and security, and we've certainly have learned that during the month of August with the terrible fires in Hawaii, with the hurricane in Florida, and you really saw the difference there. Florida did an absolutely spectacular job at protecting its people and getting the state ready. But these are types of things that you can't have tourism if you don't have safety and security. Mexico is going through a very hard time with lack of security. And so it needs to work on that. And so these are going to be topics that we're going to be speaking about in Bali, possibly also issues of medical tourism, issues of how the climate is impacting SMEs. And the important thing for people to know is no matter what topic we're talking about, we're going to connect that to small and medium-sized businesses so that everyone who's attending, especially that's our market, this small and medium-sized businesses, they're going to come out having a sense of feeling something really special and that we're paying attention to them and not only to the big guys who make $100 million or $100 million a year.
Yeah, because we are a small business, so we understand it. All of us working in small businesses and company with way less than 100 people employed. That's what we define the small and medium-sized companies. And small and medium-sized companies overall is the largest, by far the largest part in the travel and tourism industry. That's often overlooked because there are a lot of them. And when you have a few companies with a lot of money, they're more powerful, obviously, or seem to be more powerful than
they
many.
Make a bigger splash.
Money, yes.
They're not really that they're individually they're more powerful, not collectively.
Absolutely.
But the point is they make a big splash, and the little guy gets pushed around the ocean without he has to go where the currents are going. So this is really a chance for people and businesses with less than 100 employees to take control of their lives. And really, they are the heart of tourism.
Yeah, and I'm excited to actually go to Bali because Bali, as a major tourism destination for so many decades, is really built mostly on small and private businesses, a lot of family businesses, whether it's restaurants or attractions, hotels, a lot of villa hotels, very small. And they have to be careful in a way also because the big guys, the Marriotts of this world and so forth, getting now into the villa business. They're getting in all these things small businesses have been successful in. So it's important that small businesses advocate to have an equal hearing and standing when it comes to their business model. So I'm hoping we can contribute to this understanding.
Yeah, I think we can. I think the importance, though, is that most people in small businesses don't have a chance to think about things such as climate change or safety and security. For example, in lots of times when I'm in a boutique hotel, they barely have a lock on the door. But you know what? If you're in a boutique hotel or you're at a big hotel, you still need to have good security. And so, and if somebody, God forbid, gets shot on the street, now in Indonesia is a very safe place, so that probably is not an issue. But you know, people are not going to go to these boutique hotels if they don't have places that are safe and secure. We have to worry about health and the fact that you know, if you're in a big hotel, they may have a doctor on call. A boutique hotel may have to call a doctor to come in. So these are issues where we can help people to really improve their tourism and yet give a specialized service. And one of the negatives of a big hotel is you don't really feel like you're in the country. You know, sometimes I'm in some of these large corporate hotels. I don't know what country I'm in. If somebody doesn't tell me, I'm lost. But if you're in a boutique hotel, you really feel the culture of that country. And
it has a soul, you know, it's still run by people who care because they own it or they're involved in it every time. And Peter, I think what you will see in Bali is quite different on the safety security. And unless it has changed, I haven't been there for a few years, but I know in the past, I always was amazed. Bali is very different from the rest of Indonesia. Also from the cultural perspective, it is Hindu, while the rest of Indonesia is Muslim. And Bali people are quite close. They know each other, even if they don't know each other personally. There's a feeling of togetherness. And it was always like this in the past. There's always have been crimes, not really violent crimes, but property crimes. I'm still there. also against tourists. You didn't want to go in certain places on the beach in the middle of the night. I guess you don't want to do this anywhere. But the difference in Bali is if something did happen to a visitor or tourist, you automatically have the local people get active. It's not the police, it's not the authorities. Local people always watched out for their guests and their visitors because they understand how important that is. And that was a layer of security no one really had in the world at the time.
Well, I think it's even more than worrying about the profits from the visitor. I think from on this will be my first trip to Indonesia, but my son has been there and he talks about how the Indonesians, how hospitable they are to foreigners and how really they see you as coming into their home. And so I think for many people in Bali, if there is a negative incident that takes place, they see it as a black mark on the whole island, and they really don't want that to happen. So they go out of their way to be good and kind and gentle to visitors. And that's a really wonderful concept that we need to be able to figure out how to export to other parts of the world. Because we in the tourism industry need to have a sense of caring and family. And when we have become so big that sometimes we forget that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And tourism is not only growing, it's getting very active. It's also very diversified. There are new tourism destinations that are opening, and there are different travelers on the road. Like 20 years ago, you countries that couldn't afford it at the time to be really on the outbound tourism, and they're now traveling. Look at Indonesia again, a country that will host us. Indonesians are some of the most active travelers in the world these days.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And just 20 years ago, you hardly found an Indonesian traveling outside their country. So these things
And of
have.
course, look at it, India and China. And I think India is now the most populous country in the world. And the Indians have had quite a month. They put a satellite on the moon. The Russians failed and the Indians succeeded. And congratulations to India. That's a major accomplishment. But where Indians were often years ago too poor to be able to travel, now they're traveling. And they can afford to travel both internally because it's a huge country and externally. And that means that the world is changing because in order to accommodate, the world is going to have to learn to have more vegetarian. They have as many people from the Muslim and Jewish worlds are traveling. You need to have more pork-free products. So the whole concept of food is going to have to be changed in the world of tourism, and that's going to impact even airlines. You know, there used to be you could order all sorts of nice meals on airlines. Now, basically, they say to you, "Do you want water or pretzels or nothing?" So we're going to have to really come up with ways of changing that. And when they do offer meals, they have to be culturally sensitive meals. They can't just say, "This is what there is, eat or don't eat."
Yeah, and going back to our event, what is Time 2023, and you can see it on the website, and you can actually see who's attending.
So why don't we repeat that website?
Yeah, so we're also going to put it on the screen so you can see it. Just go to time2023.com and you find all what's going on. We have some announcements already planned for the event. One is we're going to, hopefully if they get it ready by then, announce the first Global Tourism Resilience Center. We're doing in cooperation with the Global Tourism and Crisis Management Center, I believe it's called, in Jamaica, and that's why Minister Bartlett will be there from Jamaica, and Floyd Waller, who's the CEO, he's flying in. And then we're also will be announcing that the ICTP, many of you know, that has been around since longer than eTurbo News, since
Tell people what ICTP stands for.
ICTP now stands for the International Climate and Tourism Partners. It was the International Coalition of Tourism Partners. And ICTP has a little bit over 2,000 members still, also literally everywhere in the world. And I'm a co-founder of this organization together with Professor Jeffrey Lipman, who will also be in Bali. And his input will be climate change. He will present also a study he did specifically on Bali, but it gives our members kind of a second rail to deal with if they're interested in the issue of climate change, to put it outside our regular activities at WTN, because our activities are really generating business for small and business side travelers. Of course, that includes responsible travel, but the ICTP side would take the responsible travel side. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for anyone who is joining ICTP. You will automatically joining WTN and vice versa. So we're going to be merging together and combine our efforts, and everyone can make a decision if they wanted to be member of one, of both, or and the price is the same, so there's no difference.
Well, that's one of the announcements. I understand there may be an announcement also of setting up an international center for tourism security in Bali. And I don't know if that's true yet or not, but that's the people from Bali have mentioned that to me.
Okay.
For cases. So we'll find out if that's really to be or not to be. And also, we're going to be announcing some of the programs that we here at the World Tourism Network are going to be doing. One of those programs is going to be an international conference on what the world can learn from the Hawaiian fires. And I believe that's on the 19th of September. So more data will be coming out about that very soon. That's something we certainly are going to be pushing. And then something you and I are going to be doing, which is our first WTN special trip to Germany for people who want to learn about Germany, its Jewish heritage and the German heritage. And that probably will be, we haven't picked an exact date yet, but that will be coming up. So we want people to know about that. And we're also going to be doing a series of rapid seminars where people who are interested in a particular topic will be able to get, it'll just be an hour or two, but quick lessons on how to learn about basic issues of tourism security or health or medicine and security. And so be watching that, because this will be a whole new type of education for people to learn about.
Right. No, absolutely. So we have a lot on our plate. We're progressing. There's a lot of news, eTurbo news, for those, and of course everyone is reading us. Otherwise, you wouldn't watch us here. You probably noticed we've done a lot of improvement on our website. It should be a lot faster.
Really nice.
And we hope we can continue improving it. You can also now easily go and collect news just from one country. Go to the sidebar, click on the country you wanted to get the news from, and even better, you can just click on your language and read us in more than 100 languages now. And it's on its own portal. So if you stay and browse articles, you can browse it within this language. And even better, if you go to your local Google search engine in whatever language you speak, you now find our articles actually Googled and indexed in your home language. So we're really excited about this.
And if you read enough of eTurbo news in that language, you'll end up speaking that language fluently.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, it's we're talking about artificial intelligence here, so it's not always done by a human. Our system is artificial intelligence, but it has human input. So if there are words used that are wrong, we have actually human beings who monitor it in not all languages, but in the most common languages, and they will put this input in, put them on the no translate list. So it's always improved. So, and if any one of you find anything you cannot read, just send us an email so we can actually put this on the list and make it better.
Right. And if not, it becomes, instead of artificial intelligence, artificial stupidity. So I always know when I go and buy something like a new iPhone or whatever, they say, well, you want the smartest phone? I go, nope, I want the stupidest phone, because those are the easiest to use. So anyway, there's lots going on in the world of tourism. As you know, there have been a number of near-miss planes. Luckily, nobody's died, and the planes didn't either hit each other. But there's a lot of problems in the airport systems around the world. Those are still reeling from what happened in COVID. And that's a whole issue we need to be talking about very soon, and that's air safety. because that's a very, very important issue for the world of tourism. This coming weekend in the United States and Canada, it is the end of the summer, the official end of summer. And so that will be people will be going to the beaches for summer. It's vacation on Monday, but on Tuesday, the summer is officially over and we're back to work.
Except you Jewish guys, you have one holiday after another, you hardly ever.
Do. So for those of you starting on the 14th and on the 15th and 16th is Rosh Hashanah. Happy New Year to everybody. And then on the 24th in the evening and 25th is Yom Kippur. So an easy fast. But and I know that my friend over here in Hawaii, he's becoming an expert in Jewish holidays. So I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, well, now you get maybe someone is actually overtaking your holiday. I talked to our friend in Indonesia, and what Indonesia did is quite interesting after COVID. They needed to really revamp tourism. So the best way to do this is domestic tourism. So they wanted people in Indonesia to spend money in other parts of Indonesia. So what the president did, he declared, I don't know what month it was, but he declared an entire
Ramadan
national holiday. So everything was closed, everyone was traveling, and that's really how tourism started. Quite amazing. So we need a tourism month, I think. That's what we should probably ask for here.
And remember, the first person to actually start group tourism was Moses. He took us on a trip around the Sinai Peninsula. And talk about, and it wasn't just a month, it took 40 years. So, and of course, the cruise industry was begun by Noah. So he was the first person to take us on a cruise to nowhere. So having said that, I want to wish everybody a happy new year and a good evening or good morning or good night or good day or wherever you happen to be.
Yeah, and those that missed the first part of our broadcast, just stay tuned. We're most likely going to repeat it. Or if you missed it completely and you wanted to listen to any of our other conversations or breaking news shows, simply go to breakingnewsshow.com, or of course you can stay if you see us on YouTube, on Vimeo, and all the other platforms. We didn't have a lot of luck, I have to say, with Facebook. We are on Facebook and it's coming in live. But Facebook apparently after a few weeks is deleting our stuff because they always find, even if there isn't some kind of copyright violation. And maybe Peter, you say something, what is copyright? I don't know, but they have to limit the number of our broadcasts. So they haven't figured out why, because they don't tell you what is violating their copyright. So that makes it a little bit.
I think they just want to take you off the air from time to time. I think Facebook and X, which used to be Twitter, just get great pleasure in driving people crazy.
Yeah. All right. Leave it like this, and I wish everyone else also a nice weekend, and we'll be back probably.
If you're in the United States or Canada, you have a great holiday on Monday. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Aloha.